Hi folks, and welcome back to the Vermont Bird Placing Skywatch here in Manchester Center, Vermont. In this week's video tip, we're going to be talking about the different types of seed that you can use to attract the widest variety of wild birds to your backyard. The first seed that we're going to talk about today is black oil sunflower seed. It's the same seed that we use for cooking and eating, which ultimately, when it's not used for those purposes, ends up as wild bird food. Here's what black oil sunflower seed looks like right out of the bag. Basically, anyone who's ever fed birds knows that black oil sunflower seed really needs to be the basis of just about any seed blend that you use to attract wild birds to your backyard. It's about 40% oil, which means that birds and frankly just about every other critter in their forest knows that it's the best food for them. So whenever you use black oil, you know you're getting a type of seed that just about every bird that visits the backyard is going to eat. Just like we were talking about before, whenever you do a seed blend, one of the things that you want to make sure that you do is have a lot of black oil sunflower as part of the blend. Well, one of the things that we do at the store is do the hard part for you. We've created a blend that we call Full Belly Deli Plus that has black oil as the primary base so that everything else that we add helps bring you a better variety of birds to your backyard. The first thing that we add to the black oil sunflower seed is shelled peanuts. Shelled peanuts is really a favorite of birds like woodpeckers, nuthatches, titmice, and chickadees. It's a really good way to bring them to you. The second ingredient that we add to the blend is safflower. Safflower is a seed very similar to black oil sunflower, but the difference is that it's a little bit lighter and actually is a favorite of birds like northern cardinals. Next, we add sunflower hearts. You know what are sunflower hearts? This is really the same seed that you find inside the black oil, except that the shell is already taken off. Birds love it because they don't have to work that hard, and it also seems to be a favorite of finches or smaller birds that come to feeders. The last thing that we add to our house blend is something that we call fruit and nut. This is a great way to attract birds of a larger size, including jays that like the fruit. Sometimes you'll see robins eating the fruit. And then the white millet, the little pieces here, are for birds like finches that really like that type of seed. Okay, so now you've started either with black oil or with our blend, and you're wondering, what else can I do to attract different birds to our feeders? This is where we start to talk about different specialty seeds that help attract specific birds to specific seeds. The first two we're going to talk about is Niger and our blend of fabulous finch food. Niger, many people mistakenly call thistle. Thistle is actually a noxious weed and something that you can't even plant anymore because it takes over fields that it's planted in. So Niger is a specialty seed. It's a very small, tiny little seed that actually comes to us from one of primarily three different places, either India, Nigeria, or Ethiopia. It's a roasted seed. It has a really nutty smell to it if you could smell it. And actually there's a little tiny shell around the seed that the birds actually have to crack to even get open. One of the things that's really important to realize about Niger is that you have to keep your Niger fresh, meaning that if you only feed birds on different parts of the seasons, for example, either just summer or just winter, one of the things that you can't do is take Niger and use it from one season and hold it until the next time you start to feed. Always keep it fresh. That's a great way to make sure that birds will always come to your feeder to eat it. The next seed that we have is our blend. Just like the Full Belly Deli Plus that we use, this is our fabulous finch blend. And basically what this is a seed that includes a lot of Niger, but also has some sunflower chips, some millet, some flax seed, some canary seed. It's a really great way to bring even more types of birds to your finch feeders. Now, the types of birds that you're going to attract with these two types of seed, number one, primarily the American goldfinch, one of the favorite birds that people see in their yard, the bright gold yellow male that comes every summer. In addition to goldfinches, house finches, purple finches, indigo buntings in the summertime, these are all the different types of birds that you can attract to your backyard by using these two types of seed. Now the next thing we're going to talk about is a little bit more about some of those seeds that we add to our Full Belly Deli Plus that you can actually use in feeders all by themselves. And basically that comes down to three primary types of seed. The first is the shelled peanut. And there are actually different types of feeders that you can use that we'll talk about in a later episode. But basically shelled peanuts are just that. They're raw peanuts that have not been used to make peanut butter or human consumption. They're just left over and they're used to feed the birds. The next seed we'll talk about a little bit more is safflower. Now safflower has a couple of things going for it. Number one, it's a seed that cardinals prefer, and the northern cardinal is by far the bird that most people prefer to see in their backyard, almost than any other bird, with the male being his brilliant red and how they often take care of each other when in the breeding process, the male and the female. But a couple of other things is good about safflower. One, There seems to be some research to show that safflower has a bitter taste, so squirrels tend to not like safflower. Number two, it's a seed that during the summer, oftentimes backyards will get overrun by a big black bird called the common grackle. You probably are familiar with the bird. It's a big black bird with yellow eyes, kind of iridescent black-purple. Well, if you're having a problem with common grackles in your yard, you can change your feed to just safflower, and they have a hard time eating it because their beaks are so big and they can't crack the seed. So generally they just pick up and leave. Next we're going to talk about sunflower hearts. And again, the primary reason that people would use sunflower hearts versus black oil sunflower is what we call for a waste-free blend. Meaning that underneath the feeder or on your patio or on your deck, if you're feeding sunflower hearts, you won't have to worry about cleaning up any shells after the birds come and eat. It basically keeps all that area clean, and another feature of it is that because it's already shelled, pound for pound, you're basically getting 3 times more seed when you purchase hearts than you do when you get black oil sunflower in the shell. So now you're asking yourself, what else can you possibly put out to feed wild birds in your backyard? Well, there is something else that's actually getting more and more popular, especially in Vermont because of one particular bird that's visiting backyards that we didn't see a lot in the past, and that is the wild turkey. And what do wild turkeys like to eat? Probably more than just about anything. Coarse, cracked corn. Basically the same corn on the cob that you would see dried in the field, but it's been ground up that makes it a little bit easier for birds to eat. Other types of birds that eat this are juncos, sparrows, the ground feeders that we get in the backyard, mourning doves, birds like that. What's really nice about cracked corn too is that it's really inexpensive, so you can put a lot of it out. You'll even get deers and some other wild animals that eat it too. So don't forget to put cracked corn out for the birds in your backyard.